So believe it or not, I've been waiting 8 years to use this. Let's talk about the Creative Commons and what it all means. By now, I'm sure everyone is aware that the original Mickey Mouse short Steamboat Willie has entered the Creative Commons. What is the Creative Commons? This refers to a type of public license that enables for copyrighted work to be distributed fairly. Fair distribution in this sense means that anyone with a Creative Commons license, varying depending on the creator's intent with their work, generally speaking, it means that the public has the right to reuse, remix, adapt, and build upon material in any medium or format. However, specific licenses may still be required in order to fully monetize work that exists within the Creative Commons. This might require credit or attribution to the original artist, as with a CC BY or CCSA license. Some works may still have a CC&C license, which means it cannot be used of any commercial use. CC&C, non-commercial. Dozens of patented and copyrighted works enter the Creative Commons every year, but this one is significant. Let me explain why. Back in the 1920s, Creative Commons law covered every creator's intellectual property for about 50 years from the time of its creation. That meant it was accepted that an author, songwriter, or artist's works would enter the public domain sometime after they've already passed away, after accruing money throughout their lifetime. So if things hadn't changed, what that means is that Mickey Mouse, as we see in Steamboat Willie, would have entered the public domain back in 1998. Some of you watching this video weren't even born yet. So what happened? 26 years ago, a bunch of companies, Disney included, lobbied the United States Congress to get the 50-year limit on Creative Commons almost double what it already was. Mickey Mouse had been exclusively under the control of the Disney company for 96 years, a further 58 years after Walt's death in 1966. This started to become a big problem not only because it blocked a lot of other things like books, music, plays, but also useful scientific studies from entering the Creative Commons, meaning those works couldn't be adapted or built upon. But also because Disney had grabbed up characters like Pinocchio, Alice, Hercules, and Tarzan from the public domain. Even the concept of Steamboat Willie is based on an older movie called Steamboat Bill, starring Buster Keaton and Ernest Torrance. It should be noted, however, that just because the Disney movies of these characters are copyrighted by Disney, their Creative Commons usage is still possible. Anyone using these characters for their own derivative works should be careful it doesn't look too much like the Disney version. Think about the difference between Alice in Wonderland and Alice Madness Returns. That being said, it's important to remember, just because Steamboat Willie has entered the public domain, it doesn't mean you can just use it however you like. First of all, consider the derivative works that Disney has put out in the meantime, even going so far as to update their logo in 2007 that plays the beginning of every movie, which features, of course, music and imagery from Steamboat Willie. You didn't think that was just them waxing nostalgia, did you? Many of these decisions are made way in advance because it gives them a plausible way to protect their IPs, even if it's under the Creative Commons. Steamboat Willie style Mickey Mouse's versions of Mickey Mouse? What is the plural in that sense, anyway? Whatever. A couple of channels that I watched on this topic, Legal Bytes and WDW Pro, have also done videos on this topic, and their knowledge on the subject is way more expansive in this particular matter. For instance, there's an article from CNN Business that talks about the recent announcement of Mickey Mouse-themed horror games and movies coming soon. Mickey's Mousetrap by Jim Bailey, an untitled project from Stephen Lamort, and a survival horror game called Infestation Origins. Personally, I'd like to see a Bendy and the Ink Machine revival where Bendy and Mickey duke it out. Who do you think would win? In any case, with regards to these recent announcements, Disney representatives had this to say, quote, "We will of course continue to protect our rights in the more modern versions of Mickey Mouse and other works that remain subject to copyright. We will work to safeguard against consumer confusion caused by unauthorized uses of Mickey and our other iconic characters." What this means on the surface is that any derivative work of Steamboat Willie might still be subject to legal action from Disney if the intent behind the work is meant or can be proven to have a negative effect on how the public views Disney or their products, or uses Disney works within the public domain to try and pose as someone who represents the company. And now, with all that out of the way, I'd like to show you two of our most recent additions to the Tales of Atonement universe. These are Marty Mouse and Pat the Blacksmith. They may share some common themes, being a cat and a mouse, but they really couldn't be more different. Marty works in the forge with Pat, and not on a boat, and Pat isn't nearly as mean or surly as the boss in Steamboat Willie. He just mirthfully chugs his drink while young Marty works with metal. Just look at how cheery they both look. This is also an homage to Brian Jake's The Redwall series. Those books were very important and inspired A.A. Moreland to become an author. Redwall has a mouse character named Martin and served as inspiration for our main hero. With this particular work, I decided to challenge myself. Instead of just coloring the whole thing and applying a black and white filter at the end, I took the time to kind of match up how I felt they'd be depicted in the 1920s era art of animation. And here's a funny little anecdote. When we approached Kama about this particular piece, he was actually really excited about it too, saying, "Oh yeah, that's in the public domain now, isn't it?" Well, I hope you watch this video to get some details about just how that works. And I hope it helped all of you understand a little better about what this all means and how to protect yourself if the mouse comes for you. By the way, as a bit for fun, and for those who are interested, I'll be doing a full Technicolor version of this work that will be available on Patreon, and Bree and I will be doing our own reaction video to the short. I've never actually watched it aside from a few short clips, so we've got no idea what to expect. The coloring will be available for our $1 Patreon users, so head over there now and watch it. Patreon is the best way to support this channel. Not only are you supporting us, but then we turn around and change that money to great art, music, voiceovers, comics, maybe even merch like shirts, hats, or plushies one day. But you'll get access to the Tales of Atonement coloring pages, the Monomyth comic book, and even the unpublished scripts so that you can be the story way ahead of time. Check the link if you want to look into that. Some of our great patrons include Shadow Fox, Aria Gamari, Charles Tam, Jace Moreland, and Lundair Lumen. Thank you again for watching, everyone, and just be safe out there.